Well, it's been a 2-month postponement in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, and this is why.
I deem it very prudent and very judicious for me to request that I be afforded an opportunity to go and read the records, particularly those portions as they relate to accused number 1. All the assertions that should have been made by him, the level of cross-examination, etc., and also decide, my Lord, whether or not there will be a need, before making such a decision, I also need to consult with him very thoroughly. If he has got witnesses, I also will have to consult with his witnesses even before I come to court and put certain versions that will come as a result of my consultation with him and those witnesses. So on the basis of that information, my lords, I am going to request that I be afforded an opportunity to, I've already started to read the records, but I need to indicate that it is voluminous, my lords. It is very voluminous. And in the process of reading, I also need to analyze. And also create
collate.
Yes, to collate, my Lord.
These are unusual circumstances. No one foresaw that the legal representative of accused number 1 will unfortunately pass on, and this is after certain propositions were made. We are of the view that the legal right to, or the constitutional right to legal representation has got to be given effect to, which entails taking proper instructions, going through, canvassing all the relevant material, and this is what Advocate Mnisi is asking. And, my Lord, we indicated that we're not going to object, and we therefore, my Lord, support his request to be given time to canvass all these issues, my Lord.
But during that break, the Meyiwa family confirmed writing this letter to the Judicial Service Commission calling for the removal of the presiding Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng, accusing him of bias towards the prosecution. Well, the letter written by Senzo Meyiwa also states that the 5 men currently on trial for the soccer star's murder are being wrongly prosecuted.
Without taking away the concerns of the family and the family members who wrote the letter to the Judicial Services Commission, in my view, they have unfortunately followed the wrong route. Should they feel that the judge is acting in a biased manner and is not presiding over the matter appropriately, then an application for the judge's recusal must be made, and it must be made by one of the parties before the judge. So in other words, the NPA is acting on behalf of the Meyiwa families or family who has been obviously affected by the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, and the NPA accordingly, should they feel that the judge is not acting in an unobjective manner and is not presiding over the matter appropriately, then they will have to bring an application for the judge to recuse himself from the matter. There are numerous concerns which the family has raised in the letter, one of which the fact that the so-called second docket, where Kelly Kumalo has been identified as a possible suspect, has not been prosecuted. Now, that complaint should be lodged with the NPA. The judge presiding over the pending matter at the moment has no say over that matter, and it is, of course, the NPA who decides whether they're going to prosecute the matter or not, and the judge is merely there to adjudicate over the matter. So that complaint they must bring up with the NPA. But yes, I unfortunately think that they have not followed the correct route, and accordingly, I don't think that this complaint which has been sent to the Judicial Services Commission should delay the matter any further. Once again, if the NPA believes that the judge has not acted in an objective manner, then they can bring an application for him to recuse himself, and he will then decide whether he should be recusing himself or not. Then secondly, the accused number 3 is the attorney who has now taken over from accused number 1's attorney, and accordingly he was given an opportunity to familiarize himself with the record and what has transpired. It is of course to his benefit that he has been in the matter from the outset. He has been given sufficient time in order to do this, so I don't think that should cause any further delays in the matter.
As the case resumes, Advocate Charles Mnisi is expected to cross-examine lead investigator Brigadier Bongani Gininda. Well, so far, Gininda has told the court that the witness statements implicate the 5 accused before court.
Now, if you say Constable Zungu and other witnesses, are you able to elaborate on that?
Yes, my lord. There are statements that I've obtained. I'm just not sure if those witnesses have testified. But during the course of the investigation, before Constable Zungu's statement was obtained, there were statements obtained which linked all the accused in this offence collectively, from accused 1 to 5, and then those statements are in the docket. That is now other than the statement of Constable Zungu.
Dropped a bombshell that Meyiwa's then girlfriend Kelly Khumalo was the 6th suspect in Meyiwa's murder. Well, this has 2 confession statements by accused number 1 and number 2 finger Khumalo as the mastermind.
We have, before standing and sitting before this court, 5 accused persons, and in the statement it says 6 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution. Who is the 6th suspect?
It's Miss Kelly Khumalo, my lord. Remember this statement, I was applying for the warrant of arrest for Miss Kelly Khumalo, so she would have been the 6th suspect. This one, at that time, were already arranged. They'd already made their first appearance, so this was November. So I was now moving towards Miss Kelly Khumalo to be added.
And while Gininda says a warrant for Khumalo's arrest was not authorized, he believed that she should be charged, but prosecutors felt further investigations needed to be done.
Prior to the accused being indicted by the DPP, it was my initial proposal that based on what we have, she must be charged together with these 5 accused. But it was clear on our interaction that from the prosecution side, there's further investigation that must be done. That led me to this statement 225 that Mr. Ramsipil is going through now, my lord, where I then came to say this is the further evidence that we have now collected, the cell phones and so forth. But as I said, it was a procedural-driven investigations. It was provided what I have, the application, and through the discussion, I was advised to hang on to it at that stage, my lord.
Gininda also repeatedly describing Kelly Khumalo as the trigger point. Was there any proof of bank transactions between her and the accused?
How much was paid?
My lord, the amount that I can recall, for example, with accused number 2, he says he was given 15,000 first. That's accused number 2. Okay. Insofar, and you'll find it in Exhibit HA and JJ. And then subsequently, then he was given 30,000. So if you conclude that amount, it goes to 45,000. I think accused 1 also in his confession indicates the amount he received. I just don't know. I don't recall the exact numbers, my lord. But insofar as accused number 2, I do recall that it comes to a total of 45,000.
And who paid these amounts? Do you know?
My lord, it is clear. It's indicated in Exhibit JJ. Accused 2 indicates who gave him the money. The balance was given by accused number 5, the 30,000 to accused number 2.
Who was the source of this amount or the payment?
It was the accused, my lord, because I'm dealing with evidence. The accused paid the other accused. That's the evidence that we've got. But the indication is that the contractual or the sparking point is Miss Kelly Khumalo.
Is there any chain of money from Miss Kelly Khumalo to the accused?
No, not electronically, my lord. There's no electronic evidence. In other words, money being transferred from her bank accounts to the accused.
The trial resumes. There are hopes that there won't be any further delays. Crisalda Lewis, SABC News, in Johannesburg.